Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I want to talk about how to read more books. And it seems like in this day and age, it's hard to sit down and concentrate and read a good book. And I know a lot of people are really trying to get into them. And there's been a few things that I realized that I noticed I started doing that made me read more books more frequently and start knocking down my to be read list. And it's kind of hard to get into reading books in this day and age because of the fact that we have so many things distracted us, so many things that are trying to pull our attention spans one direction this way with memes, another direction here with the group chat, and another one in this direction with something else. And we got to kind of try to silence all of that noise in order to find a peaceful moment to sit down and read. In an ideal world, we would block off, hours of our day in order to sit down and read a book. We'll block 3 hours on Saturday to read this book. We'll block 4 hours on this day to catch up on that book. But we got work, we got school, we got kids, family, and responsibilities, and all these other things that get in the way. And my main thing that I realized helped me read a lot of books a lot faster isn't so much blocking out different times of the day. Like, it'd be nice if I had a long flight and I could read for 8 hours straight, but that's rare. So I found out the best way to do it is actually to read it in little bits and pieces at a time. We shouldn't be treating books like if they're those 5-pound steaks that if you finish it on your first attempt it's free. We should be we should be reading them really slowly, methodically. It's a meditative, calming, soothing process to be reading books, because you're connecting with authors of the past. You're connecting with ideas and symbolisms and metaphors that make you want to think. And you shouldn't fly through it. You shouldn't try to compare yourself to those people that read, a book in 8 hours, or they read 3 books in a weekend and they'll brag about it on Instagram and Facebook, and that's cool and all. That's good for them, but just go at your own pace. Find the time when you can actually read the book, and the way to find the time is to make the time. So instead of trying to block out certain chunks of your day to read the book, just what I found works best is taking the book with me. Even if I have no intention, if I don't even think I'm gonna have an extra 5 minutes to read that any page at all, as long as I have my book with me, I catch myself taking it to places where I go. Say I gotta meet up with my wife, I gotta go buy groceries, I gotta go sign up for something, I gotta go to the bank. A lot of times, just having it in the car or in a bag or somewhere near around me, I realize in those extra 5 minutes that I have, instead of going into the building earlier, I'm waiting for the other person to show up, I catch myself, instead of scrolling through my phone, I catch myself grabbing my book and opening it up and reading it a little bit. And that little difference, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 6 minutes, and I'll only read one side of a page, or sometimes even 2 pages. And I think to myself, well, I read a little bit, right? But every single time I do that, the second half of the book gets thinner and thinner and thinner, up until I find myself actually finishing the books. And I'm like, wow, those little 5 minutes, 20 times a day end up catching up and adding up and making more time. And they actually help me finish a lot of books really quickly. And I know a lot of people think that they don't want to do that because they're saying, well, I'm going to get lost where I was. I'm not going to remember where I was. I'm going to keep getting disconnected with the storyline and all the characters. But if you do it frequently, you really won't be getting disconnected from the storyline at all. You actually, all the context clues, all the dialogue, everything that's going on always brings you right back to where you were. And if you're constantly, frequently opening that book, you're going to get sucked right back into it very quickly. You're not going to miss a single step. You're not going to miss a single beat. And I think that's the best way to read these books. We got to take small, digestible bites where we can actually process everything that we're going through. And it really makes a big difference. And if you really feel like you don't have all that time in the world in order to find that book, in order to find that time to finish that book, my second best option would be to read every night before you go to sleep. Just break open that book and try to get through it. Try to find that perfect winding down moment, because that's really what happens when you read these books. Any book, really, unless if it's like a crazy thriller, war, action book. But for the most part, most of the books are going to make you nice and relaxed and calm, and you see yourself starting to fall asleep. And it becomes a twofold thing, because you're not up all night scrolling on a mindless screen that has no end to it, and it's going to just cause you to have that blue light on you all the time and keep you more awake. But it's actually going to have you learn something, knock out your to be read list, and get you in a better sleepy state, so you're actually able to have better night's rest. And I think combining those things, taking the book with you wherever you go, whether it's a physical copy, an e-copy, like an ebook, it really does help you get into that mindset. It really does help you achieve that goal just a little bit faster, tiny steps at a time, because it's not really a sprint, it's an actual marathon. You're trying to get through this book little by little by little by little, and it ends up being read. And That's the best way to do it. So if you're really out there struggling to finish your books, you have this long list that you want to read, and you keep telling yourself, God, if only I had a free weekend in order to do this. But you don't need that. You don't need the free weekend. You got to just have it with you all the time. And instead of opening your apps and scrolling through Reddit or whatever it is you're into, instead of swiping through TikTok videos, you could actually be swiping through pages and looking through them and actually reading them, and that'll replace those little 5 minutes that you swap your phone out for. That'll replace those little 5 minutes that you bring your phone out for to distract you with something that's gonna benefit you. That becomes your new favorite app. That becomes, that's the original app right there. That's the original time killer, time saver. And that's what we should be doing with the books. We should be just taking them everywhere with us and using them as if they're a little leisurely thing. They shouldn't be a stressful thing. They shouldn't feel like a chore. They shouldn't feel like I have to read this book. You should want to do it. You should be like, I'm gonna read this book because it looks fun, because it sounds appealing to me. And now that you're an adult, or becoming an adult, depending on the age you are, you're choosing to read these books. Because I hated reading and literature and all that stuff in high school, because I didn't want to be force-fed Macbeth. I didn't want to be force-fed any Shakespeare, no Beowulf, no Odyssey. Now that I'm older, I'm finding myself realizing that these books are actually, I like these books a lot. Like the symbolisms, the metaphors, the things that they go through. And it's because I'm going at my own pace now, because I have a new perspective on them. And I'm reading them because I actually want to, not because I have to. And it makes me pick up the book more frequently and enjoy it a little bit more. And all those things start coming into play. If you actually like to do something, you're going to want to do it more. And it's like a cycle that feeds itself. And so I think once you get into that mindset of this book isn't going to be a chore, it's going to be a fun thing I do while I'm waiting till the bank opens, while I'm waiting for my friend to arrive, or I'm at a line somewhere, it's going to end up being a good journey, a good positive journey. And you're going to find yourself going through more and more books more frequently. And I think that's the best way to get through them. So that's the end of the video. If you guys like this sort of advice, if you guys have any more advice, let me know. Message me, comment on the video, and see if there's any way that I could find new tips and tricks that I could start posting and sharing with people. But anyway, take care, guys.